After watching the Wonder Woman Comic Con trailer just today, I came across an interesting theory that I have that I like to share just with everyone. And the interesting thing that I kind of came up with was something to do with Steve Trevor. If you don't know who Steve Trevor is, he's basically Wonder Woman's love interest throughout both the comic books and the older films from Wonder Woman. And what he plays is an American officer who's also part of the intelligence corps on the U.S. Air Force. And it's been a big deal that he's part of the actual American he's an American soldier and he's fighting in World War II. But with the new Wonder Woman Comic Con Wonder Woman trailer that was released at Comic Con, it kind of, in my way, I feel like there's something they're trying to hide, or maybe it's just a very interesting twist they have to the story. But definitely we know it's not in World War II, which is an interesting thing, which I think taking to World War One will be very interesting. But I'm not really here to share. I thought the trailer was good, but I would actually like to focus more on Steve Trevor and what I think about this. So, as we know, Steve Trevor, an American intelligence officer, in World War II. So in this movie, Chris Pine, famous for his Star Trek roles, he's gonna be playing Steve Trevor. And Steve Trevor in this movie, uh, what it looks like they present is he's going to be an American intelligence officer. But is that really true? I've got some things through this trailer that have kind of shown me that make me think maybe he's not the American, soldier we think he's going to be. So, the first thing I definitely want to come across is I have this picture from early in the trailer, and what the picture is if you can see this, it's Wonder Woman hovering over Steve, and what we have here is, what caught my eye is because I'm more of a history buff. Is if we look right here, Steve has the Pour Le Mérite, which is a German Blue Max award, which was awarded to aces for actually getting 12 confirmed kills in World War One combat, as well as the uniform, which is pretty much clearly a World War One German Ulan uniform, which was the uniform worn out of combat, well inside of the cockpit. Sometimes also worn in the cockpit, but mainly more of a dress uniform outside of it. But just to make sure people can believe me, the Pour le Mérite as an award given in the Imperial German Empire. Famously, people who have received it was people like the Red Baron, von Richthofen. So it's just an interesting thing because this is not an American award. So is he maybe German? We don't really know, which kind of something was jumping out to me. And just to continue with the further backup, if we go to the actual trailer itself, we zoom in here. You see in the background, Steve. He says the blue merit again and the Ulan uniform. And just to show what a Ulan uniform would look like is right here. We have basically how you can. Color scheme is not the same, but definitely if you go back to the picture, you can see he has the red lining, and that just to show it is Ulan uniform. No American uniform of World War One was like that during the time. But just another piece of evidence just to back this up is the plane in the background behind Chris Pine is the thing is it's a Focke-Wulf. Focke-Wulf, the company famous for its aircraft in both World War One and World War Two, a leading German manufacturer, which is really weird because either what this could mean is maybe it's just a captured German plane, and maybe he's just posing as a German officer. Maybe since he's part of intelligence, maybe he's doing something with the actual intelligence corps, posing as a German officer to maybe do something that furthers plot into the story. Residing around him and Wonder Woman, and they do something. But there's also a theory going on that Chris Pine is not just playing Steve Trevor, but he's also playing his grandfather. Maybe his grandfather was also, possibly a spy, or maybe his grandfather was German, and it's going to play a role. So it's really interesting to think. But I'm definitely, if the theory is out there that's true, that Chris Pine is playing both Steve Trevor and his grandfather, I would definitely say that this World War One stuff is all going to be based around his grandfather. That would make probably the most sense, seeing how the movie apparently that's as far back as it goes. World War One is the flashbacks. And the interesting thing is, I really just caught my eye because just watching the trailer, and then I watched a couple of reactions. No one really was able to pick up on this. Maybe more or less because they don't know so much about World War One or about German actual aircraft and German uniforms and actual German soldiers and how everything goes with medals, and if they're not American. So it's just very interesting. It caught my eye because Focke-Wulf, a leading actual industry in Germany, more famous probably more for their World War II planes with like the Focke-Wulf BF 109s, which is a mainstay aircraft in World War II. But you know, I just found it very interesting that you were able to find this, and it makes me theorize that either it's something to do with him with the intelligence corps, with the Americans doing something to kind of do some spy-ish things or doing intelligence on the Germans to help Wonder Woman, or maybe it's just his actual job in the actual U.S. Air Corps. So it is interesting, but also there's another scene 144 in the trailer, which kind of it's just another proof of just another backup proof with the German uniform. This is a German uniform, traditional with the sidebars to denote the rank of an officer. Probably he's a lieutenant in the German Air Corps. But it's to me it just stood out and just something I thought I'd show, and something makes me theorize what's actually going to happen in this movie. I'm very intrigued to see, is he going to be part of the German Air Corps, instead of being part of the Americans, and maybe he turns, because later on in the trailer, see if I can find it. He actually right here, it seems like it's Chris Pine in the cockpit, and this is also a scene from earlier where he's actually attacking this. So that kind of bashes what I said earlier, where maybe this is a captured German airplane at an American base. So it's really interesting. Like, is Steve Trevor like so much different than what the original Steve Trevor is in the comics, in other Wonder Woman movies? Like, maybe is he German in this one, and possibly does maybe he convert, to the American side? But the thing that's really funny, and you'll see a lot of people, it's like, oh, I really like, well, at least we can say, oh, Wonder Woman's kicking ass because they're fighting the bad guys, but the Germans in World War I weren't so much the bad guys, as you didn't have Adolf Hitler and Nazis leading the country. So I guess you could say that, but let's drive away from that. But more or less, it's interesting because like, why would he turn? I mean, because if he's German, there's no, it's not like he believes that the Germans are doing wrong. Like, I mean, okay, he could say, okay, maybe the Germans, we shouldn't be doing imperialism, but instead, so he turns to the Allies. But that doesn't make sense. So really, what it comes down to me is either he's gonna be playing a German officer in the German Air Corps, or he's just an intelligence officer still in the Americans, just like what it's been before, posing as that. But it's just something an in-depth thing, and it really intriguing, and I just cannot wait to see this movie, because that's something that's kind of that's really what grasps me. Not really the biggest comic book hero fan. I'm more historical fan. So I really didn't like. I'm not really a big fan of superheroes. But this, it caught my eye, and it actually makes me want to go see it, because I really want to see, how do they have this depicted? Because if I feel if they had more of a German World War One Steve Trevor, I think that would be very, very intriguing. I think that would be, a new take. You have someone who I guess you could consider, he's on the bad side of the, enemy fighting. Where in Captain America we just had, the Americans, fighting the Germans. Whereas here we would have, the German is helping Wonder Woman. So, it's very interesting to see. But I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was just kind of me just showing kind of, some evidence in the movie where I think, some theories could be about. Either we get, original Steve Trevor with his U.S. Army or U.S. Air Corps intelligence officer self, just in World War One, and kind of posing as we get to see him in actual action, or we get a brand new Steve Trevor who's maybe a German fighter pilot. I don't know which one sounds better. Definitely, I would like the German one, but the American one's always great to kind of it's always good to go with the American side when you have Wonder Woman. Just like when you have Captain America, you got to go with the American side. But I'm very interested to see what this happens when this movie comes out, and I'm going to be very intrigued to see what kind of transpires in the movie if he is actually a German officer, which I would thoroughly think would be just a mind-blowing thing to everyone. But as the movie approaches closer, maybe we'll find out more details. If he is a German, I doubt they can keep it under wraps by trying to hide it. Eventually, people will probably catch on after they release another trailer or something like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys hope to look for more stuff like this. Hopefully, I'll be able to post some more things like this and explore some other things. But I hope you enjoyed.